least you should have thought about something so that I can give you comments back. And so this is a big class, we will do it group wise. So in a group there could be at least one student for sure. And then three is maximum, but if that project is really, really good, I will allow 4. Okay? But 4 is the limit. You can't have anything more than 4. Okay? It is up to you to choose the platform. There is no restriction. You can choose any mobile platform as long as it has to be mobile. It can be either a real device or it could be an emulator. Either is fine. It doesn't have to be a real phone or a device. If the project is really good and something that is not available in the emulator, and you want to develop that project, then we can even purchase that hardware and then make it available for you. Only thing is, the problem is with iPhone and iDevices, because first thing is to even develop on those devices, you need a lot of other software like Xcode and iOS operating system and their tool, and you have to subscribe, you have to pay the subscription fee and so on. So that path is really cumbersome, so we will not go with those devices. But anything otherwise is fine. Nokia S40, S60, Nokia Windows Mobile, then Android, any device is fine. I also have something on Nokia which is MIMO systems, which I told you about. So if you want to experiment with that, even that is fine. It's basically a Linux phone, and you can do far more things with that. The developing language for that is Qt. So if you search for this, it's pronounced as Qt and spelled as Qt. It's very easy. You can, and the good thing about this is once you write in this, you can compile it for S40, S60 and other devices. So that way, when you just develop it once and you develop it for multiple devices, just like Java. You can even put this code on your desktop machine. Okay, so at the end of this class, what I expect from you is one document. It should be just one page, not more than a page. So the document should have title, object, team members, title that describes the entire project that you are planning to do. Write down team members with name and roll numbers. You should mention the objective, describe the project not in detail but brief, maybe a paragraph or two, so what exactly this project is about. Then identify which hardware and software platform you are going to use. And so for example, it could be a Nokia device for Windows Mobile, it could be Android or something. If it's going to be emulator, we have to mention that it's an emulator. And then a timeline from now all the way to the end of the semester. How would you divide the entire work from design, architecture, software modules, testing, and so on, everything. So you have to come up to the timeline, and I expect that you adhere to this timeline. So I will make sure that even with the mid-sem, when there is a when we reach the middle of the semester, I will again have an overview of what you have done, so that you don't develop everything at the last day.
Can't we like discuss this with you right now, but send it to you what you're planning?
Yes, so you don't have to write it down now and give it to me. What you need to do is, I will explain some projects to you, and if you want to select those projects, you can select those. If you have anything on, you are coming up with your own ideas, discuss that project idea with me right now. If you have any questions, I will answer all the questions now. And you don't have to give it to me right now. In fact, so you can upload this to Moodle. I think that is the best, because otherwise I will get so many emails. So per group, just one upload is fine. And I will create an assignment and an activity on Moodle, and you can upload it to Moodle. is sponsored by Microsoft Research. So the idea is, and this was also accepted as a that is going to happen as a poster. So on the phones nowadays we create lots of images or multimedia files, audio, video, and so on. If you go to a gathering, you get together, you have some pictures, photographs, and you also shot some videos. All of that is residing on the phone. And the phone is becoming, and also you will have songs and so on. And if you want to share it with your friends, one thing is you can go to a PC, download everything to that PC and then transfer. You can connect to the internet and then transfer, but that is very slow. So one thing you could do is Bluetooth. Bluetooth is, it's very fast. You can immediately exchange so many things. So we have developed a service in the cloud.
Why do we use Bluetooth file sharing? Why not Wi-Fi file sharing?
Wi-Fi is also fine. So for now I'm saying Bluetooth as one application. If you have access to Wi-Fi and you can connect through Wi-Fi and then do a file down, but you still need an application. Transfer everything from phone to phone. It's not going through a computer. It's not going through a PC. Right?
So the platform of this application will be Microsoft Windows Phone 7.
Right. So right
because
now
it's not implemented in that yet.
Yeah. File sharing using Bluetooth is not.
You cannot send files from Microsoft Phone 7 to Android or any other.
How about Symbian? Nokia. Even on Symbian. So the idea is, so let me describe few more things. So let me describe one more thing. So what happens is we have developed a service in the cloud. Right? So that service resides in the cloud in a server. And just like you go and do Google and you say, okay, I want to search something about IIIT and you get all the results. Right? So what you can do is we will have a search interface where you go and just type, let's say I want to see a Rockstar song. Right? And once you press search, it will list out all the friends on whose phone this song is present. Right? So this is on the cloud, you can see what are your friends. Of course, the friends will have to give you permission to do this search. But now you have extended the search from just the internet to the phones. Because phones is also carrying so many files which are interesting, PDFs and this and that. So
Creating a P2P network over.
right. So and then you will. So it will just give you the list. This is the cloud-based interface. On the phone, what will happen is, so let's say you two want to share this file.
So that list will already be on the cloud. That data will already.
That metadata is already on the cloud. So when you come, both of you come to the campus, it will give you an error. Okay, now you are in the close proximity.
Or that Bluetooth needs to be on
All the time, or we can do other things. Like if you have a GPS, that can detect that you are in the close proximity. And then send you some an SMS or your application creates a pop-up. And then you can, the application will invoke and it will send the file. But the last piece of thing where actually the file sharing takes place is something that is missing. So if you could develop an application that shows you the list of files, and then on the right hand side you have a friend, just like you move a file from one folder to another folder, you will move now a file from one folder to your friend's phone. Right? And it should go to the friend. So that is what. Any questions on this? So I would recommend using Symbian because the other applications that we have that pushes information from the phone to the cloud is in Symbian. So integrating it will be very easy. And you would use something called a Qt platform, the same one. Right? So it's in C++. So if you are familiar with C++, then you can use this Qt platform. And then it will work on any Symbian devices, S60, most of the phones that we have, Nokia phones, those it will work.
For the purpose of sharing the using of the pairing also,
Right.
we need to pair all the devices.
Right.
Then only I can.
Right. So that all needs to be done. So there has to be a pairing. You type in that 4-digit or 6-digit PIN code. And once you pair these devices, then it's one-time pairing. And then next time when they are in close proximity, you can see this network with the name, identify. Maybe you can run an authentication to make sure that it's really your friend's phone. And there will be other features.
Change the device name also.
Right. So your application should be smart enough to know. So both the phones are running this application, right? And they have authenticated themselves with the phone. And now the application in the background should authenticate to each other somehow. Right? They can generate, let's say, if they share a key, a secret key, then they can share a challenge and ask him to decrypt and send it a decrypted version. Right? So you can think of this challenge and response protocol to authenticate and then track the file.
Can we make it in some other platform instead of Symbian?
So the Symbian platform will allow us to integrate. So this I am specifying, the platform also I am specifying the recommended version. But for the next I may not even specify. For example, the next one, which I this application I thought would be an interesting one. So there are some patients who have to take lots of medicine and they have to remember all of these, and mostly the elderly patients, they can't remember the names of the drugs, when to take them and so on. So if we have a phone application, with that phone application, what we can do is, we can just take a photograph of the medicine bottle, of the box, or the tablet packet. And for every medicine we have one photograph, and the application remembers in it itself that when every medicine has to be taken. So for example, one before the breakfast at 9 o'clock, one at the time of lunch, one at the time of dinner, and so on. So the application remembers this medicine is to be taken at this time. Right? And once this is fed in, the application will create a reminder at that time, because there is a clock running in the background. You can set an alarm and it will alert, it will pop up the image of that medicine and say, okay, this medicine needs to be taken. And the user can then take the medicine and swipe off that.
But isn't the assumption a little flawed that all the elderly people are using smartphones which are
So we will develop an application. Maybe there is one phone in the house, right, that has this capability. And then we can do another things also. For example, it can be an SMS, some kind of a pop-up. Or if there is a tablet, it will create.
And the initial learning curve, I mean, you'll have to feed in everything manually. Is that not?
Right, so that is one, but it's a one-time thing. You do it one time, and let's go one. Yes, yes, so I'm going there. So
you have to feed in the dosage, na? Barcode se you only get
and this is not only for the elderly people, even for the busy people, right? If I'm taking medicine, I don't remember sometimes. This medicine has to be taken, and there are 2 or 3 combinations of medicines. So one tablet needs to be taken only in the morning and in the evening, and not at the time of lunch. Right? So if somehow my phone remembers all of this information, and I'm ready to take a photograph of every medicine once and fill in this information. But over the period of 1 month or 2 months, I don't have to remember everything.
I could give the name of the medicine instead of a photo, show the name of the medicine.
So photo is more a visual thing. So right, so you medicine that, so you remember all these medicine bottles by just by looking at them. You don't really remember the medicine name. So if you ask me which medicine I'm taking, I don't know the name. But I know this is the red tablet, this is the blue tablet, and so on.
No, but like first time we'll take the name. And then when it gives an alert for the name, it shows the name, then we know that it will be one of these medicine only for keep it.
Right, so I'll leave it to you, whatever you want to do. But I think the simplest thing would be, even for a kid to use this application, a photo is the best thing. Because then the learning curves really come down.
Like many medicines, like if bottles look alike, so name is.
Right. So it's up to you. This is one suggestion, but the application, I get you get into the application. right, what exactly needs to be done. It's a very useful application. And I don't specify anything about this. You can use any platform. Whichever platform you feel comfortable with, that's fine. Any questions? Next is so this is proposed by IBM Research. What happens is when we have this mobile device, depending upon the location of the cell phone towers, the characteristics of the TCP/IP, the network connectivity changes depending upon where you are. So the walls, everything, they absorb signal, they bounce signal, and so on. So if you have noticed that at some corners of these buildings, the cell phone connectivity is very good, and you can easily receive a call and make a phone call. Same thing happens with the internet also. In some areas in the building, the connectivity is very good. In some area, it's not very good. Right? Even we can extend this to a campus also, the whole campus. So your application, what needs this sweet spot application is, it will run on multiple people's phone and will collect data about the characteristics. So there are lots of tools we can use. If you've taken the computer network skills, there are some tools like Ethereal, Wireshark, which can tell you how much is the connectivity. Right? So you can use the same tools. We have ported Wireshark for Android, and this can be done for other devices also. And at the end, you can just use a pin. You can just send a packet to Google and see whether how much time does it take to retrieve that packet. Right? So using this, you can create the whole map of the campus and say on this spot, so with the localization, with the GPS, you know where you are, and this is the network connectivity, right? And you can populate this map for the whole campus. So if next day, if you come and you want to share a video or you want to download something from the net, the application will tell you where to go, which will be the best spot to get this connected and download the application. So those of you who are interested in networks, computer networks, and know about TCP/IP, round trip time delay, and so on, I would recommend taking this application, because this will give you more in-depth knowledge about TCP/IP, GPRS, 2G connectivity, Any questions about this? So I think this is self-sustainable. Next question is about polling. So this is the application where, so let's say I deliver a lecture and I want to know how good was the lecture was. Or we have a presentation on Wednesday or Thursday 4 o'clock. And at the end of the day at 5 o'clock, we want to know how good was the presentation. So what we can do is, I can send a URL to everybody, or you all know this URL. You can just go there and vote something. Or you can download an application now that will tell you this was the lecture. The application knows which was the lecture. Right? It will give you all the options, whether it was an average lecture, good lecture, better than average, bad lecture, worse lecture, and so on. You select all of these options, and every user will do a poll and send back the survey results. The application will collect it, send it to a cloud where it is gathering all this information, and then once, let's say at the end of the day at 12 o'clock in the night, it gathers all the responses, and to the coordinator of this survey, it gives us nice results, like in a histogram. Like 5 people said it was good, 6 people said it was bad, and so on. Right? So this is an application that we will really use in the environment, because we want to know a lot of times how was the lecture, right? And then the application with the cloud can collect all this information. Again, the platform is independent. I would recommend Nokia, because most of our students are carrying Nokia phones, but you can create 2 versions. One is the application, and one is somebody has to visit a website and do the result. Right? You will actually go to the website and put some information, or you can have an application that will create a nice form for it. But of course, there is a cloud also involved, so you should run something on the cloud like GWT. So in Google provides Google Web Application where you can run a Java application in the cloud and it will collect all the information and give you back a nice results at the end of the day. So is this a polling question? Polling project idea here? The next one is Twitter location. So, just like you are sending tweets on the Android, let's say you are using Android phone and you are tweeting. What the phone can do is also tag the location along with the tweet. That goes there. So your application will get the location and also the tweet and send it there. And then later on when you want to search what are the tweets that are coming in from let's say IIIT or NSIT area, then you should be able to do that. And so your application provides you two things. One thing is to send you a tweet along with the location information. And then second thing is if you want to search within this area what are the tweeting going, what is the primary topic of tweeting, or you want to see all the tweets in this location, your application should connect them to Twitter using its API, get back all this information about which are the tweets in this location, and then show it to the user. The next one is local search. Foodnet.com is the website. I haven't visited this, but I think it's mostly for the restaurants and so on. So you can go there and say the area name and you will get back the results. So you can develop an application that retrieves location from the food. You can ask the user to check the area. With the GPS, it gets the location, connects to this website, uses its API and gives you back the search results, whatever you want to search in that area to the user. Some of you actually are working on restaurant recommender app. So I think this will be similar to that. The next one is inbox. Current state of inbox is very simple. Our email has advanced to such an extent that we can do so many things with the email, but with the SMS it's still very limited. You just get all the SMS, you store it there. That's it. So for example, you cannot prioritize them. You cannot say block this sender, block. In some of the phones you can, but there is not a generalized application that let's say block this SMS. Or whenever there is this keyword in it, take this in the message and put it in this folder. Or you can tag some of the SMS as spam SMS. This is something that Kuldeep has been doing, SMS Assassin. So you get all these keywords from SMS Assassin and then whichever SMS contains those words, you can put them in the spam. So you have to redesign the application that looks at all the SMS and provides you with this. You should be able to even create a filter. So for example, so I will write here, filter, spam, block. So all the features that you typically see in an email or even schedule an SMS. If you want to schedule an SMS at 4 o'clock, saying, okay, I will be late today, you can type that and just keep it at 4 o'clock, the phone will fire up and then send the SMS. So your inbox or the SMS application is now smarter and do all the things. Apollo research that we are planning to do. It's called drug interaction. So what Apollo research has done, it's Apollo hospitals, that they know the list of the medicines, and in that there are some medicines you cannot give it at the same time. So for example, medicine A and medicine B, you cannot give to a patient at the same time. They have adverse effect, they have reaction. So they have a built-in database, and doctors want to use this database from their phone. So they will type in, okay, I'm giving this medicine, Crocin, let's say an example, and then there is a cough syrup or something. I want to know whether there is a side reaction of these two medicines given at the same time. Right? And so the application that you will develop on the phone will take these two medicines, connect with the server, or on the local phone there is some database, see whether there is an interaction or not, and then report it to the doctor. So this will be again something from the medicine point of view, very good application that people will use, and we will get all the information from the database. This is about drug interactions. Next is automatic detection of flyovers. So with the GPS you can get a lot of information. Even with the phone there is an accelerometer and there is a gyroscope where you can see whether the orientation is changing or not. With GPS you can get the height information, the latitude information. So you combine all this information and then see whether there is a flyover or not. So for example, you are traveling from here to the airport and your phone should automatically detect, and it goes on the flyover and then comes down. So application use the sensors and find out whether there is a flyover, and automatically it will put, okay, on this road there are these many flyovers. So this is something that we are planning to use for the transportation. I haven't completely found out the use, but something that is nicely will use all these sensors and give out an application that can do very smart automatically. So for transportation there could be multiple uses and see whether the flyover information is useful or not. But for now it's just a nice application. I will have a big picture about how it can be used. So how many of you are taking embedded system course? So there are some projects. Maybe you can even, so I will list out the projects and you will talk to Amarjit and see whether there is an intersection, and you can then have a bigger project, something you do for mobile computing and half of it you can do for the embedded systems. So the next project is about interfacing with Arduino platform. Embedded. Of course, I mean, you don't have to take embedded system course to do this project. You can do it even without it. Connected with Android. So we have a board here in our lab and it connects to the phone using Bluetooth. So we also have a Bluetooth interface on the Arduino board, and on the phone you have Bluetooth running, and there is an application that you need to develop which will collect data. So there are lots of sensors on this embedded board, embedded systems board. And then once you get this data, you should stream it all the way to the phone and show it. So for example, if you have an ECG running, then you should actually see an ECG running on the phone and showing all the data. Okay? So again, you need to have knowledge about Bluetooth, and maybe you need to do some programming on this board, right? In C, probably in C, so that it collects the data and push it to the Bluetooth. So that's what I'm saying. If those who have done or taking embedded system course now, for them it would be useful because they can then do on the both the side. They can do programming on the board and they can also do programming on the phone. And there are few sensors in Amarjit's office which are sensing when we open the door. So there is something on the door and it can check whether the door is open or closed. There is a sensor on top of my chair, which tells whether I am in the chair, sitting in the chair or not. There is something for the light and temperature also. So all of these sensors are there, and your application can collect this data from a server. So everything coming from the sensor is going to an HTTP server. You can also query that HTTP server and show that data. So for example, I can download an application on my phone, and if I start that application, it should tell me that what is the temperature and so on, whether the door is open or not. So if I forget to lock the door, I can check on my phone whether the door of my office is open or closed. So here there is not much programming involved on the embedded part. It's just connecting to the web, to a server, and then getting this information and displaying on the screen. That is one more application. Then next one is interfacing healthcare sensors with mobile. So we have a suite of healthcare sensors, for example ECG and so on. And they can talk over Bluetooth to a computer. So right now on the computer we develop an application where we'll get all this information about the sensors. But now what we want is the same sensors running on the sensors and then getting data on the phone. So then now I become mobile. I can just take my phone and get these sensors and go even to a village and see all the data, ECG and so on, right? Blood pressure and everything, all the basic vital signals. So we need to develop an application that runs on the computer, on the mobile phone through Bluetooth, get all this data. So a lot of people, so we don't know. Even though every phone nowadays has Bluetooth, we don't know how many of these typically, if we sample 100 data points, the Bluetooth connection are on. So we don't know about this. So, and there are so many other things about how much time does it take. If I transfer a file, one thing is to transfer a file, but then how much is the connectivity? If we have a distance of this room, how much time does it take to send a file from one location to another location through Bluetooth? What is the bandwidth typically we'll see, and so on. So this is about understanding Bluetooth connection. So your applications should give you a way to experiment on Bluetooth and continuously collect this data. How many times do I connect using Bluetooth to my phone, to my friend's PC, to my friend's phone and so on? How many times I use a headset over Bluetooth? How many network connections are open when I walk inside a room out of 100 people? And so on. How much is the bandwidth that I typically see? When I transfer a file, how much is the bandwidth that I typically get from a Bluetooth? So your application is about understanding network characteristics of Bluetooth connection. So these are the 13 projects which are recommended for those of you who want to do something from this. And of course, you can come up with your own list, and now I would like to hear from you. So if you have formed the groups, just in a line or two describe the project so I get an idea what exactly you're doing. If it's too small for a project, I can say, okay, you need to add something. If it's too big, then I will say, okay, don't do this much, may not be possible. Some things are technologically not possible at all. If you are going to do that mistake, I will warn you now, so that later on you don't get into a problem where something is not possible. Okay. Another thing is, so I was talking to MobiKwik company, right? It's a very popular company, and so the head of that company gave me this website, programmableweb.com. It's a very nice resource. I would recommend if you are thinking of a project on your own, go and visit this website. It lists down all the APIs that are possible with different things. So for example, I talked to you about APIs from Twitter. I told you about Zomato.com. I told you about Google search and so on. So this website will provide you with all the APIs which are nice, which you can use otherwise on the phone. Right? So you can connect to the net on the phone, use all of these APIs, and then develop a smart application. Very nice website. So let's start with, maybe I can start with something this end. So anybody who wants to describe the project first? And then otherwise I can just go sequentially. Maybe I can start with describe the project and what platform you're thinking about. So how would you do the recommendation?
Based on the location of the profile.
Okay.
And
where will you get the data about recommendation?
so like the location can be found out of the mobile, like from where it has this. And then we take input from the user what cuisine he wants, like whether he prefers Chinese or Oriental or what, and then we search all the restaurants in that area. Okay. All that data we compare it to that, and then we recommend the restaurant which gives the cheapest, very the user can get the cheapest food and
But who will build the database for this? All these names of the restaurants and their location.
That
Something like Zomato.com.
That we need to get it. But first we can take it for random data, right, and then we will later on when we deploy it, then we will.
Also, if you're using emulator at the first, you can actually put the location in the emulator. So this is the latitude and longitude. So you don't have to really. Otherwise, what will happen is on the phone it's not possible. You have to move around and then get the location. With the emulator, you can say, okay, now give this location to my application, and it will get. And you can even give a series of locations. So every time it reads, it will get the new location.
And then we are also thinking of making storing the record of the user, like through the number. First we were thinking of that. Then we thought that maybe we are getting feedback that storing the number of the user may be a privacy.
And platform-wise, which platform? So, I mean, I'm okay, even okay if 2 or 3 will take this one project. So there are 13 projects, and we can always have multiple of these projects. So we get variations and so on. So it's not like if somebody selects a project, except for maybe the Arduino platform, where I don't think we have multiple of these platforms. But for the rest of them, I mean, that's fine. And if you two groups select the same project, that's fine.
I think those 2 groups may be working together.
So that's my responsibility to check whether the code is different.
So either Zomato or Inbox or
Okay, so for Inbox, I think you can talk to Kuldeep and get all these keywords about the spam and so on. And there are some limitations about Inbox. For example, in J2ME, you cannot get access to the Inbox. But in Python and so on, you can get access to the Inbox. So you have to think about what platform and software you will have to use so that you are not limited technology.
I was also thinking alert for medicine for Android.
Another thing you can vary is then you can change the platform, right? So not everybody is developing for the same platform, even if the application is same. Okay, so we have too many others now. The first one, file sharing. So yeah, you can talk to me in detail about this. Also Shrey and Vibhas. They have developed an application to send some information to the cloud. So if you talk to them, they will tell you how is the file sharing exactly.
in case we are looking forward for the drug reduction project, what is the database which you would recommend?
Right, so you can talk to Amrita. So you can talk to her. She can give you access to the database and so on.
For medicine, and polling.
I would recommend, since nobody has selected polling, go for polling. But yeah, it's up to you. But polling, as I was saying, you will have 2 interfaces. One interface is the application, where you see everything as a form. But also the same thing could run on if you just visit a web page. It should run like that, because then we are not limited to a platform. Because everybody will have a browser. And through browser, they can just visit it and also submit their polling results there. So do it both the ways. That way the application is loaded. Yes. Right.
The slide right. So if I combine the mic which will record, right now we're recording. So the slide is being presented and the mic it acts as a presenter itself and the wireless mic also. And at the same time it keeps on recording.
Right.
The slide is even on recording in YouTube, but like only the slide in the voice. So at that time it will be recorded in the phone.
So on the slide part, there is an application running on my computer, which is listening for the networks, right? So let's assume that we are using Wi-Fi. So what's happening is on my computer, there is an application running as a server, and on the phone there is a client that connects to this server, right? And then giving this information about the clicks. Now, if you want to do the voice thing, so there are two options. One thing is you can store everything on the phone. Using the mic sensor, just collect everything, record, and store it on the phone. Or if you want to then store it on the PC, you can even do that. But you have to think about it. Because then with the PC, you have to create again a client and server and send all the data to the server. If it's on the phone, it will become really easy actually. But still you need to know how to use this interface of sensors and store everything as written. I think, and so you have an Android, right? Then I think the best thing would be to use that. Oh yes. So you don't have to root the phone also. But this is you don't need to root the phone. Right, so there is one other interesting thing that people have done is, so they have created a chalk, using the phone, I just write in the element, and all of these things will appear on the computer screen. Right? So people have to do, so they can detect in which direction you move the phone. So you can do the same thing. If you move the phone in some direction, in some pattern like 8, then it will unlock. That's possible. So you need to connect to that sensor and then find out the orientation. So there is an orientation sensor also. So that's something is available, but then you can think more about it, how you can be different from the available system. But I really like this idea. Then somebody can extend this now there are two things. One is access point. So there is a chip in the phone which is giving you connection to the Wi-Fi. And not all the chips can go into ad-hoc. There is limitation. We need to find out the chip it cannot go into the ad-hoc mode, it can only be a slave. Master. I have some phones with Linux. They can go to about this.